Hello, welcome back to the interface. My name's Alex, and this is my full in-depth guide for using the infotainment system on the ID.3 GTX. Now, whichever version of the ID.3 you go for, so long as it's a brand new one, this will be very likely the exact same experience you'll have. I just happen to be reviewing the GTX version of the ID.3. Now in this video, what we're going to do is walk through the entire software implementation that VW have got on the ID.3, the driver's display, but also the Volkswagen app for iPhone. It's a UK focused one. I think there are some different regional versions of the Volkswagen app, but I will put a link in the video description and as a pinned comment to the version of the app that I've been using on the iPhone itself. Also, if you want a full in-depth guide, or in-depth review on this particular vehicle of what it's like to drive, all the interior features, the design on the outside, there's a link now in the top right corner, or the description down below, where I take a full in-depth review of this particular vehicle. But in this particular video, what we're going to do is walk through the entire software stack on the car. Now, first things first, we've actually got a pretty decent sized screen on the ID.3 now. It's now 12.9 inches in size, and this is a huge step up from what the ID.3 used to have in its first incarnation back in around 2020, 2021. It had the exact same screen as the Mark 8 Golf at the time, and now over the years Volkswagen has thankfully moved away from that smaller screen with some of the software issues. And actually, I've been driving this car for a very long amount of time. As you can probably see from this screen, I'm actually in Germany at the moment, and I actually drove to Munich in this exact car to cover the Munich Motor Show. So I've spent around 35 or so hours behind the wheel of this car in the last 1 week. And using the software has actually been really surprisingly quite easy, and a massive improvement over what Volkswagen used to do. And you'll find this exact same screen in all the latest VW products at the moment, including the ID.7 as well. So on terms of physical stuff, as it's pretty well known now, this ID.3 doesn't really have a lot of physical buttons. So along the bottom here, you've got the volume slider here. So that's the volume there. You've got the temperature for the passenger side and the temperature for the driver's side. The main big improvement on this sort of, I guess, second gen version of the ID.3 and all the other VW ones now is the fact that these icons here are all lit up at night time, which is a huge usability improvement. You've also got this on off button here, which you can, well, hold down and it will turn the screen off. So there we go, back on again. So what you're looking at right now is actually the main home screen, and just like the old screen on the older ID.3, you've got some widgets. So I've got the built-in VW sat-nav on the left-hand side, the IDA voice assistant here, the media, and then the charging, so it tells you your battery level as well. And along the bottom, as I just said, you've got the physical, or the sliding touch controls for the volume and temperature. And you've got some always-on shortcuts to those items as well. So if you dive into Apple Maps here, or Apple CarPlay, you've always got these things always on show. And this square button here takes you back to the home screen. You've also got the temperature here, so I can slide this around if I want to and get the temperature changed once it disappears. The max windscreen defogging, the rear windscreen defogging, heated seats on the driver and the passenger side. And then you've also got some other shortcuts like auto, and then climate takes you directly to the climate control screen where you can do a lot more stuff. But we will look at that in a bit later. On the very top of the screen is one of the main improvements to this software, really, in my opinion, is the shortcuts. So I've got the Apple CarPlay here if it is connected. I've got the driving mode, so I can get a nice shortcut here to change the car into eco, comfort, or sport, or individual. So putting the car into eco doesn't really do anything because the car is not really switched on properly. You've got assist here, which we'll look at in a bit. Let me just turn the car on now. So the car is now switched on. If I go back to mode here, I can switch the car into eco and comfort. So in comfort mode, I've got 197 kilometers of range. I've got the car set into kilometers at the moment. Eco is 199, Sport is 195, and Individual is 197. And I'll go through all these driving modes in a separate video in my full review, again, which is linked down below. Got the parking mode here, so I've got park assist, got camera as well. So the rear view camera flips up underneath the VW badge, all quite nice there. And this button here takes you to the vehicle favorites, and then this button here takes you to all the apps as well. On the left hand side at the top, what we do have here is the time, which will take you to the time settings, the signal on the car. So this vehicle does have a eSIM or a SIM card built in, which lets you see where the car is in real time using the Volkswagen app, again, which we'll look at a bit later. And there are some other privacy informational bits here. So got login details and privacy settings, and the messages, which you can now delete if you want to and get some other options in there. If you swipe down from the top, you do have some other shortcuts like the brightness. You can also change the car into light mode, which is a bit much actually. And then you've also got dark mode here as well. You've got air conditioning automatically or immediately, audio, sound, last destination, radio, media, and favorites. And what you can do with these is that you can actually add some shortcuts. So if I click on this button here, you can add in some Wi-Fi, hotspot, the other shortcuts that the car's got. So it's really quite customizable now. Lots of different options in there. You can even add a shortcut to the ID voice assistant and the massaging program. This particular ID.3, the GTX, does have massaging seats, which is quite nice. Also, these buttons up here are shortcuts as well. So I recently reviewed the Skoda Octavia, and it had a very similar sort of setup. So you can add some shortcuts in here. I've got CarPlay there, which I quite like to have. But if you want to add some other stuff in there, like let's have a quick look in here. You've got the driving mode, the charging, the stationary air conditioning, seats, other options in here. So the software over time has become a lot more customizable in the few years that Volkswagen have been making the ID.3. So back to the home screen here, again, you've got the widgets here. Swipe across to the right hand side. You've got your phone shortcuts there, so my recent or favorites on my phone. Vehicle status, like the tyre pressure, whether or not the car needs servicing, and the vehicle status. And you've got some tips here and radio and media, and that is pretty much it. If you want to, you can go ahead and customize all this. So if I hold down here, just like on an iPad or something, you can customize how you want the home screen to be set up. So the first app we're going to look at is the navigation app. So this is a built-in app that's built into the ID.3, and you can see where I am. I'm very close to this car's home, the Autostat museum and place, really. And yeah, you can see exactly where you are. It is all very, very fluid and quite easy to use. And this lets you by default see where all the chargers are. So you've got some Ionity chargers over here, tells you where they are, not exactly how much they cost, but it just gives you some information there. If we get directions to somewhere, so let's type in a search item here. Let's say Folkestone. And that's going to be more than what the car is capable of doing right now. So I've got 196 kilometers of range on the car. So it's 805 kilometers back to Folkestone. If I left now, I get there at 4 AM. And it is suggesting some charging stops here. So if I swipe this in here now, we are starting here. So it's saying charge here for, well, I guess 1 minute for some reason. Charge here for, well, there's a, I see, so exactly what this is doing. Okay, it's given us some amenity stops. So our next essential stop is this one here at 300 kilowatts in Helwag, and you have to stay there for half an hour. The next one after that is Shell Recharge for 41 minutes, and the next one after that is Ingeni Viano. But I've noticed this, it does give you some places to stop for things to eat and do, and that's exactly what it's trying to do there. So if I zoom out here, you'll see where that charging stop was. So it looks like it's just outside Hanover, and there is a faint blue line around where I am, exactly where I can get in terms of range. Yeah, so charging stop there and charging stop there. Pretty good, really. In terms of the look and feel of the navigation app, it is a little bit old-fashioned, not quite as modern as other systems, for example. And you have got the electric vehicle route planner, which we just looked at there. And you can say how much range you want to have when you get to that particular place and the charging station. And you can even prioritize WeCharge, which is Volkswagen's own, I guess, subscription service, or their card that you give you when you get the car. The one thing you can't do is you can't specify what types of networks you want to use. So one thing I was quite impressed with the Renault 5 was the fact that it had Google Maps built into the vehicle, which let you, and it also let you set which particular networks you wanted to use and how long you should be there for. So it added a bit more flexibility, really. But in terms of one that's built into a car, this isn't too bad at all. Let's look for amenities. So let's say I want to end this trip now. Let's do search, and we'll type in search. What we'll do is type in Burger King, if I can spell burger correctly. So Burger King nearby. And it's found a lot of them actually, which is quite good news. So it tells you which one's open and how to get there. So if we do start again, it's not bad. It's giving you some information about where to go. So you can end that trip that way. This button here lets you look for charging stations. So it's found a few near me. This button here sort of zooms into exactly where you are. It tells you the speed limit, and you can also do 3D mode. and this button lets you do filtering. So I did say a minute ago that you can't filter by the trip you're doing on the sat nav, but it looks like you can filter by, well, at least Ionity and WeCharge, and what types of ones are available. So there's a little bit of flexibility there, but not a whole lot. If we look into the settings, which we looked at a second ago, you have got, as I said, the electric vehicle route planner. So this will automatically stop for charging stopovers if you need to, and you can set some options in there. Navigation announcements. So we're going to turn that off, because I've noticed even when I'm not using the built-in sat-nav, I'm using Apple Maps, for example, or Google Maps, the built-in sat-nav, if there is a traffic issue ahead of where you're going, it does sometimes chime in and give you some information there. Colour scheme is automatic, but you have got day and night. Route guidance and routes, so you can set some other information here. So on this trip I've been entering quite a few different countries, and every time I've entered a new country, it has done this country information at border crossings, which is really quite useful. It tells you what the speed limit is on the motorways, what the speed limit is in the town. It's been quite helpful, actually. You've got range warning and information signs at motorways and dual carriageways. In route options here, you've got avoid motorways, avoid toll roads, avoid ferries and trains, avoid time or seasonally restricted routes, and avoid routes requiring toll stickers except, and you can go in here and say the different countries that use toll stickers. Not many actually seem to do that. So that's pretty much the built-in map system on the ID.3. Yeah, as I said, it does work relatively well. There are better options, but if you haven't got a smartphone with you or something, and you just want an easy thing, or you're renting the car, want an easy way to get around, then it is a perfectly good option, really. And at least it does tell you where to charge, regardless of which ones you might prefer or how much they'll cost. If you just want to get where you're going, regardless of how much it costs, then it is a pretty good option. Back to the main home screen, we've got the IDA voice assistant. Hello, IDA. What can you do?
Here's an overview of all the functions you can control with your voice. You can select one by...
So you've got to set your own activation word, activate IDA with voice control, and you can do route guidance suggestions, connect a phone, activate the low air conditioning profile, no vehicle reports, and there's some other options in here. Configuration at 0%, continue now. There's a few bits and pieces in here like tips, so you've got basic functions. So IDA can answer questions in more detail when IDA is connected to the internet. So we have got internet at the top left hand corner here, so we'll try something in a second. IDA newsfeed. Hello, IDA. Show my newsfeed.
Got it. You can find more information on the screen.
So that is your voice newsfeed. Let's have a look at what else it can do. We've got background lighting. Hello, IDA. Open the background lighting.
Okay.
So that takes you directly to certain settings. So rather than faffing around with trying to do things manually, you have at least got this option there. Let's go back to the main screen. That's the voice assistant. You've got radio and media and charging. Let's look at radio and media. You've got Apple CarPlay signal. So Apple CarPlay content coming through there. We'll go through these apps a bit more in depth in a minute. So before we dive into all the applications, I want to just look at the climate control as well. You've got Climate down here. And as I said earlier, it's a bit unfortunate that it is all on the screen, but at least it has been improved in quite a few different ways since the very first version of the ID.3 software. So up here, you can turn on and off the air conditioning system itself, and everything goes black on the screen. You can turn everything back on again. You've got some options in here for the fan speed. Temperature is down here. So there's that option as well. You've got the temperature on this side as well. So you can just swipe that around. You can also click on this thing here and you can get access to that as well. A little bit slow. You can you can't turn on and off the different individual air vents. That has to be done physically. So it doesn't actually tell you which ones are on and off. You've got the air care mode, which is the air purification system. You've also got recirculation as well. You've got the steering wheel heating on this particular one. So it has got 3-stage on the steering wheel. You've got some options in here, very traditional options like windscreen and face, down on the feet, also down a bit lower in the cabin, and then sync, and that will sync the temperature on both sides of the vehicle. So if you do swipe to this one, for example, it will do them both. If you do happen to set this one, for example, it will then turn off sync, which is pretty standard now on cars. AC and AC max, and then the fan speed, which you have to use with your finger there. A little bit slow to respond for some reason now. And then auto, which will get everything up to temperature manually for you. And then you have got smart mode as well. So this is the more traditional, well, more language, easy to understand language focused version of just feet and face and windscreen. You can do defog windows, cool my feet, warm my feet, fresh air, warm my hands, rapid heating and rapid cooling. And then this information button here with smart climate. So let's turn this off now. So yeah, not too bad. Obviously, it would be nice to have some physical buttons for the air conditioning, and that is going to be coming back to VW products with the next gen of ID vehicles. But this does offer a fairly easy to use system, really. And again, in my time of operating this vehicle this past week, it's been fine, really. Not been a massive issue. Now let's go through all the different apps here. So we've got telephone, which will just launch this particular phone app on the car. It's got the calls that you've made to whoever you've made them to, the date and time you've done them, and your missed calls, and the signal level on your phone. Got the dial pad, and then you've got some emergency calling options in here as well. Settings, which will let you select a different phone you want to use. So you can connect another phone to the car. Voicemail number, contacts, and you can also turn on and off wireless phone charging on the car. The next app is the radio and media. So you've got favorites here, the player itself, and you can choose from different sources like My Media, Bluetooth audio, go back to player here, and then FM DAB, and then Apple CarPlay. Don't judge my music taste. There we go. And then internet radio as well. And then if you go to radio, this is how you choose the stations from each source. So you've got FM DAB, DAB local, and then internet radio. Let's see what comes up on here. So you've got some German radio stations in here that have come up, because obviously I'm in Germany at the moment. And then you've got internet radio here. So let's do country, and let's scroll down. That is coming, actually. That is working, which is quite good. And that's obviously going over the SIM card that's in the car. All nice and easy to use there. If you go back to FM, it will load some FM stations that are relevant for this country. And then media as well. So you can choose Apple CarPlay and other options in there. Settings, so you've got the radio settings in here. So the arrow buttons on the steering wheel, you can ask it to do switch stations, or you can say switch between favorites. Traffic program, or TP, that's on or off. And that is just the announcement you get when you're driving along and there might be something in front of you. Not really that much of a thing anymore, because everyone's got Waze or Apple CarPlay or something, or Apple Maps, sorry. But it is quite useful there. Additional DAB announcements, radio text, station logos. You got automatically select station logo. Station logo region is Germany, so obviously picked a region for me. Switch to similar station if reception is poor. That is if you're on FM and DAB, or if you're on DAB, it will just switch to FM if the reception for that radio station isn't very good, for example. And it says also show DAB image library and image gallery and information. Online audio quality is high or low. Got high on that one. It seemed to work pretty well when I was testing it a minute ago. And that's pretty much it for the settings in there. If we go back to the main screen, got navigation, which we've looked at already. Got vehicle settings. So what VW would like to do, and Skoda and Seat and Cupra as well by that regard, they like to have this sort of interactive view of the car to get access to certain settings. It's quite nice. This actual picture is actually the GTX. We've got these little lights at the very bottom there. So got 4 different pages. Got comfort light here. So light animation is on. Switch on when approached. Exit lighting duration is 15 seconds. And you can customize that in 5 increments. So you've got off, 5, 10, 15, 20, or 25 or 30. Entry lighting duration is 10. Tail lights animation is, well, off 1 or 2. Turn signals, dynamic or classic. We've got tyre settings, so tyre pressure loss indicator, you can set that. Winter tyres, speed warning. Mirrors here, so you've got synchronous adjustment, lower in reverse gear. So when you say lower in reverse gear, when you switch the car into reverse, both the mirrors, or one or the other, whichever one you want, will just lower down so you can see the back wheel, which is quite nice. Fold in when locking, it's quite a standard feature, you can have that turn on or off. And then the synchronous adjustment is just when you're adjusting one of them, both of them will adjust for you basically. Pretty standard feature now. And the headlight settings, you've got dynamic light assist. That is the automatic high beam on and off. Dynamic cornering light, switch on time, late or medium or early. Automatic headlight control in rain, so when it is raining, the headlights will switch themselves on. Quite a nice feature there. That's been quite useful. It's been raining quite a lot on my road trip. Convenience turn signal, and then travel mode. So I've noticed when the car obviously knows that you're in a different country, so this travel mode has switched itself to the correct setting for driving on the right hand side. We've got brake settings here, so you've got the ESC system is activated, definitely want that on. Rollaway protection, always ask when N is engaged and deactivate now, and auto hold is also turned on. If we go around another page here, opening and closing the doors, so keyless access is active, lock vehicle when walking away, I don't know why that wasn't turned on. Unlock vehicle when approaching, double acoustic warning if locking fails, door unlocking, single door, we want all doors to be unlocked, and interior monitoring is turned on as well. Window settings, you've got convenience opening is all windows, driver window or off. And then one more page, wiper settings, so wipe automatically in rain, rear window wiping in reverse gear, wipers in service position, that just puts the wipers like that basically, so if someone is working your car for you, and that has put them away again. Same sort of deal here for the inside. You've got the head-up display, active, augmented reality is turned off, position in demo mode, so you can move where the head-up display is located, and that is the highest it will go. And you can also rotate it for whatever reason as well. You've got brightness, which is on 55, but I've turned the brightness up to 100 now. Color scheme is standard or snow, and snow just turns all the white elements blue. And then close range content, driver assist, navigation and road signs. And then augmented reality content, driver assist, ACC, lane assist. So I'm going to turn the augmented reality back on. And it is quite useful having that on when you're... I've used it in the Cupra Born actually. There's a link to that review of the infotainment system in the description down below. But it's actually been very, very helpful about telling you which car it's latched onto without having to look at the screen. It draws a line underneath a car to show you, look, I'm attached to this car for doing cruise control. Cockpit settings, so reset all the trips, which I'm not going to do. ID light, so ID light brightness is 100% there. Basically, this is big light bar at the front of the car, which I hope VW will do on their new ID cars, because it is quite nice and playful, and it will do certain things like pulsing in standby. It'll go green when the car is charging, got fault indication as well. Navigation, so it will do turn alerts and lane recommendations. It'll do an animation when a call comes in as well, and driving and manoeuvring, like park assist and traffic hazards as well. Interior lighting, so that's on brightness is max, design is light and dark. That's the infotainment screen. Seat settings, so driver easy entry and passenger easy entry. Roof settings, so you can actually move where the blind is going to be. So at the moment the blind is opening, but there is a physical button in the ceiling to open that and close that as well. That's brought a bit more light into the cabin. Got the status here. So at the moment, the car's done 10,000 kilometers. Got tyre settings here, check all 4 pressures. And service. Service is due in 566 days. And data as well. So let's see, long term is when I reset the trip. And I've done 2,653 kilometers, 36 hours of driving. Average speed of 73 kilometers per hour, and impressively, an average of 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. Since my last charge, there's some data there as well, and since start, which is kind of the same really. Since start and since charge is basically the same for me. That's pretty nice there. Since start tends to be since the start of the day, so it's quite nice it's done that. I just drove 10 minutes to the charger I went to for that time of period for today. And that is in 1 week, that amount of driving. So, yeah, pretty good. If we go back to this page, Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay is pretty standard now. It is wired and wireless on the ID.3. So you've got it's pretty smooth actually. I think VW done a good job in terms of wireless on this car. Got text messages, they're back to the VW main screen. Google Maps and other options in here. You can listen to your favourite podcasts. So if you want to listen to the Charging Status podcast, that can be done from this screen. Nice and easy. So the latest episode of the Charging Status podcast came out a few weeks ago now. That's the podcast I do with my friend Jim Starling. Link in the description for that. Check it out if you've got time. Parking. So I haven't actually managed to get this to work yet. I did try it on the Xpeng G6. There's a review for that in the description as well. And it should, in theory, park the car for you. And it'll actually pull out of the car parking space for you as well. But yeah, I haven't managed to get it to work. I'm due to film the review of this car pretty soon, so there should be a section in that review for that, so check that out as well. Got some settings in here like park distance control settings, so activate automatically and front volume, rear volume, exit warning system, maneuver braking, rear traffic alert, park assist with memory function, show information about available parking spaces, and park assist plus with remote parking capability. So there are some options in there for doing that from the app as well. And also the camera, which is a pretty good system actually, so you can look at what's behind you, look at what's in front, around the sides. Quite a few cameras around on this car, nice and easy there. Got the charging settings, so what's quite nice about this car is it tells you how fast it can charge on DC currently. So it says 114 kilowatt is what it'll be able to pull right now, because it's on 43%. It's not too empty really. It says 200 kilometers of range. It says charge now to 100%. It's recommending we only charge to 80% to maximize the health of the battery. We've got some charging locations as well. So up to 5 can be specified, and if you get to that location, it will, I guess, precondition itself. And then settings, so you've got battery care mode. You can turn that on and off, and that will help optimize the battery life of the vehicle. And AC charging, you can reduce how quickly the car is going to charge on AC if you want to as well, and also release AC charging connector automatically. I personally would not do that, because if you've left the car overnight somewhere, I've not heard of this actually happening, but someone might steal the cable that you're using, the Type 2 cable. So I personally wouldn't do that, because those cables are worth quite a lot, but it's up to you. But that looks to be off by default, so I did reset the entire vehicle before I embarked on this journey. I haven't actually looked through the settings before, and that is obviously left off by default, which I would recommend doing. Stat air conditioning, so you can basically say when you want to leave, turn the air conditioning on, and do window heating as well. It's quite useful in the winter or the summer. You can go in here and say what temperature you want everything to be, and then regular departure time, so I'm going to turn that off for now. And then start stationary air conditioning when approaching the vehicle. So if you're if you're walking towards the vehicle, it will just get everything going for you. Quite nice there. Nice benefit of EVs actually. Assist systems. So look at the image view here, and there's obviously, you can do it from this view here. So you've got the speed, the automatic adaptive cruise control and that sort of stuff, but I prefer to do it from the list. So lane assist, lane keeping system, that's on or off, and that will, let's have a look at what it says here. Lane assist performs a corrective steering intervention if you unintentionally drive outside your lane, and that will bong at you. Well, it won't actually bong, but it will put a little line on the driver's display here, as well as vibrate the steering wheel as well. Speed warning, so the car does a very good job in terms of knowing what the speed limit is based on the internet database it's got, as well as looking at actual road signs. Now I would do an audible alert, as well as display and sound, warning threshold, standard, 5 or 10, and info sound when changing the permitted maximum speed. You've also got attention monitor, so that's turned off. And actually this seems to be one of those settings which stays turned off whenever you turn it off, which is quite helpful. And that will basically use a lot of the systems here to work out if you're actually looking at the road or not, and remind you. There's drowsiness monitor, so that will, let's have a look here. It will detect signs that the driver may be tired. I've had this go off quite a few times, not loads of times, but a couple of times. It seems to be every 2 hours it just seems to go off. I don't know, I just must look tired. Thanks VW. Front assist, automatic emergency braking is turned on and off. This has been incredibly helpful, because actually when I've been driving this car this week, there was an accident happening right next to me. Someone crashed into the car in front, not too fast, but this car, it was about to happen to me as well, but this car braked incredibly quickly and flipped up the hazard lights. So it actually did save me from having a crash, which I'm very, very grateful for. So yeah, it does work quite well. There's also the travel assist, which is semi-automated driving assistance. It's got assisted lane changing, which is quite nice and easy to use. So it says, travel assist enables comfortable and straightforward driving, can help you to maintain a steady speed, stay in your lane and keep a safe distance. It does work pretty well. It also doesn't let you undertake people in certain circumstances. If a car is approaching you from the lane, it then won't sort of see them until it's too late. But if you're approaching someone in the middle lane, it will do a good job of not letting you undertake, and it does actually show you what it's doing on the screen here. There's ACC, or adaptive cruise control, so speed limit response, road layout response, end of queue response as well. So information just helps you maintain a constant distance between you and the vehicle in front, and it will also, this is probably what the speed limiter section is, but see it's speed limit response as well. It will do a good job of making sure you're going the correct speed, basically, and it will change itself based on what the speed limit is. So it does actually do quite a nice job. Eco Assistance is on, and that will help you think ahead when driving, given recommendations. Yep, tells you to take your foot off the pedal. A lot of the combustion VWs do that as well. Side Assist, or lane change system. So the little blind spot monitors basically in the mirrors, and those are quite bright, and you can make those a bit brighter if you want to. And then traffic hazard alerts, so active information level. So the traffic hazard alert analyzes critical traffic situations with V2X technology. So it's basically the vehicles will talk to each other and alert the driver with a visual and audible alert where relevant. Haven't had that go off yet, so that's all nice and easy to use in there. Settings. This is more settings for the car, like technology settings or system settings really. So screen settings here, so show clock in standby mode, rear passenger detection tone, enabling sound for safety interruption, touchscreen tone of the infotainment system and tone for other controls, and also seasonal infotainment animation. During certain times of the year you will experience infotainment with a seasonal twist. Let the system surprise you with theme designs, light animations and sounds. So it's currently turned off. Okay, there's time and date, so clock time source, automatic or manual, so it'll pick it up from GPS, and it's done a good job of doing that when I'm abroad. And also time zone change notification as well. Languages, you can choose what language you want it in. Additional keypad languages, so other languages there. There's units, so I've got the car in kilometers currently, but it looks like you can choose different things you want really. So you can even swap and change whichever you want it in, miles and kilometers an hour and sort of stuff. Voice assistant, so we've looked at that already. Wireless phone charging is turned on. Restore factory settings and upgrades. Let's have a look what's in here. It says go to shop, which we'll look at in a minute actually. That's all that stuff there. Network, so you've got Wi-Fi here. So infotainment system as hotspot, and you can do that as well to get online. Mobile devices, I've got my phone connected currently. And the information here, so system information and copyright in there. And also configuration, so configuration wizard, so you can go for that if you want to, if you've got this car. Just basically tells you how to set the car up if you need to. Got driving profile, so eco, comfort, sport or individual. Let's go back here, background, so you've got the different backgrounds in here, so you can turn everything off. You've got desire, infinity, euphoria, vitality, which is all yellow, and automatic as well. And also the brightness, and you can go in here and choose whatever colour you want really, so you can customise it to your heart's content, which is quite nice. Go back here, got seat controls, so front passenger, the massaging functions really, and they do work quite well. So you've got the stretching program, waves, tapping, intensity, duration, position of the seat. As long as this view remains open, the passenger seat can be adjusted using controls on the driver's seat. Oh wow, okay, so yeah, so if you need to, you can use the controls on the driver's seat to control the passenger seat movement, which I've not actually seen before on a car at all. That's quite interesting. And you can also synchronize the position on the seats as well. That's quite cool. And there are some settings in here for that. So it's easy entry on both seats if you need to. Sound settings. So everything is set up to be fairly vanilla here. And these are the different profiles, which aren't actually labeled at all. Pure, relaxed, speech or vibrant, so pure is fine. And that will be on there. And then you've got the options in here to adjust these settings here. So let's do, and then you've got focus mode, so the central of the car, and surround sound. So we'll do that. Volume, so radio announcements, adjust according to speed, maximum switch on volume, which is quite good. This is kind of useful if you've had something that's a bit quiet listening to before, and then you listen to something else which is quite loud. Obviously it won't make you jump and nearly make you quite scared. That's happened to me a few times. And you've got goodbye sounds and voice assistant volumes in here, and settings as well. There's a few bits and pieces from here that have been in the main settings, like touchscreen tone and other bits and pieces like that. users. So I've got my account, my Volkswagen account logged into this car. So you've got me, which is my account there. Last synchronized 20 minutes ago or so. Other, so you can add some other users in here. And then you've got login details here. You can protect your account if you want to. Information about the privacy user. So I've been registered to the car since the 4th. It's now the 11th. Privacy settings as well. So you've got vehicle usage data, send location data, and V2X technology, which is basically the thing that will allow the cars to talk to each other. You've got ID.3, which is the voice assistant, which we looked at a bit earlier. Tips and help. So you've got some tips and bits and pieces in there. And then you've also got the ID software. Let's see if there's an update for the car. There's no update yet. Consent, allow system updates, and legal information. 5.4. This is what the version is on. ID software 5.4. And then vehicle service. So it should tell us if there's anything needed to be done to the car. Let's do allow. You can probably book a car in. Yeah, which we're not going to do. And then air conditioning, which is the climate control stuff, which we looked at earlier. And then shop. Let's see what you can buy on the VW shop. So you can buy online data for connected travel assist. You need an ID account. I'll go to order. That to me looks like the V2X system, which is completely free. So it should be activated now. VW Connect Plus, it's activated. Spotify, you can actually have on the car natively. Games as well. Wellness, Air Console games, and VW Connect, which you looked at. Got messages here, so you can consent to personal communications. Got legal information here as well. It says, information collected from hundreds of thousands of VW drivers on the move is compiled for online data for connected travel assist. Mash location data for travel assist and travel assist with mash location in anonymized form. So it detects multi-lane roads, lane diversions, tight bends, and other bits and pieces. But yeah, it's going through and ordering that for me, which is quite nice. Other than shop, we've got legal information here, which is probably going to be quite boring, but I'm not going to go through that. And then we've got WeCharge, which is VW's own charging system. It says online results from Google. So it just tells you where all the chargers are in the area. And you probably can activate those chargers somehow with a WeConnect card potentially. And there's also app updates in here, which throughout this entire week, there's been quite a few updates for the car, which is quite a promising thing to see. It's all done it in the background by itself. No updates available. Just before we finish, let's go back to the shop quickly. So it's now activated this travel data. So it says it expires and it's activated until 2027. So that's been a look at the infotainment system on the ID.3 GTX. Now let's have a quick look at the driver's display as well. So the little driver's display here is actually quite nice and easy to use. So I've got some controls on the wheel. So I've got the right hand side is a little D-pad. So what I can do is, let me get my seatbelt up. So the main screen, I've got the speed I'm going currently, and at the top I've got the current speed limit in my zone. It may pick that up from the internet, or it may pick it up from road signs. Got the range on the vehicle, so it says 199 kilometers, and what gear the car is in. Obviously it will change based on what gear the car is in. You've got some indicators down here, so if I put my foot on the brake, got the drive mode there, B, and then neutral and reverse, and then park button at the end there. And then there's basically some widgets, so let me turn off the wipers. You've got the temperature at the top here, and what drive mode you're in. So if I go to the driving modes here, so I've got Eco, changes to some trees, Comfort is just the road, Sport mode is the flag, and Individual is the heart icon. So this whole page really is kind of widgetized. So the D-pad I can swipe across to the left-hand side here, and I can get access to a more bigger version of this section, which is for the adaptive cruise control. It'll tell you which car you're latched onto, the lane assist, and that sort of stuff there. If you go across to this side, you've got the more widgets on this side here. So this is the trip computer. So if I press OK here, that will swipe between long term, since charging, and since start. Since start is the start of the current day. And then you've got the route guidance here, and that's pretty much it. If I swipe up here, I've got controls for heads up display. I go down, I can now just control this screen as well. Pretty easy. If I press view here, I've got some other options. So I can have it all simple, or I can have it just widgetized. And that is quite nice there, so I can get rid of certain things, and quite nice and easy to use there. So now let's look at the Volkswagen app for iPhone. So you can actually see at the top of the screen here, it is actually correctly representing the car I'm actually driving right now. It's the ID.3 GTX in red with the brake alloys, and everything is correct, which is quite good. Got the battery level here, which is up to date and pretty much correct. Air conditioning is off. Got the vehicle status, departure times, total distance, service as well. And you've got all the issues found with the car, which are none. Vehicle authorized workshop, so you can select an authorized garage you want your car to be serviced at. Got settings, the name of the car, the charging level and what it should be charged to. Battery care mode, again a lot of this stuff we looked at in the main settings for the car, but it is quite nice, you can look at this from your phone. The ID.3 also supports plug and charge, which you load a certificate to the car. It's primarily Ionity which lets you do it, also with Octopus Electroverse, and you can simply plug in and it will get itself going for you. Got air conditioning zones, users, contracts, data plans, and other stuff like that, and online services. Got the location here, so the location where you are and the car. So let's turn the car off. The car is now turned off. So it'll only actually show where the car is if the car is actually turned off, which is a very strange thing actually. And also person, so you've got profile here, so my email address and password, profile picture as well, help and contact, app settings, which you can do Face ID for S Pen, unit of distance miles, and haptic feedback as well. And then it says my Volkswagen is located right there, which is pretty accurate next to the Premier Inn. Pretty good app really. It now says the car's turned off, which is quite helpful, and other bits and pieces. It is saying limited services. If I click on unlock here, it asks me to confirm my identity, which I'm not going to do in this video, but the only bit it gives you access to is unlocking and locking the vehicle from your phone, which is quite a nice feature. So that's been a look at the infotainment system, the driver's display, and the Volkswagen app for iPhone. If you like this sort of content, please subscribe to the channel. My name's Alex, and I'll see you again next time.